Episode 6 of Star Trek Picard has been released. This episode was filled with Easter eggs, so here are some details you might have missed from Picard Episode 6, The Impossible Box.
You're kind of a know-it-all, aren't you?
Hey everyone, my name is Captain Jack and welcome to Trek Central. Today in this video we'll be going over all the details and Easter eggs that we picked up from Picard Episode 6. There are quite a few references to other iterations of Star Trek, which is always fantastic. So let's warp in and check out everything. As a heads up and a quick reminder, there will of course be spoilers for Star Trek Picard Episode 6 Season 1 in this video, so you've been warned. Remember to subscribe to Trek Central here on YouTube if you would like to see more videos. Warp speed. Coming in at number 1, we're talking about orchids. Orchidized Daj Iridium is the name of the orchids in the Twin Fathers study. They were spliced from 2 orchid genuses and named after Daj. This is revealed in Star Trek Picard Episode 1, so it's a little bit of a callback earlier to the season. In at number 2, we're speaking about LCARS. Even though we've seen the LCARS interface throughout the show, specifically a modern version of it, the computer terminal Picard brings up is actually the Library Computer Access and Retrieval System. LCARS has been seen in Star Trek since The Next Generation as a computer subsystem used to retrieve information. However, it was great seeing it in a little bit of detail again, and really felt like Picard was back in Starfleet, searching for information. I loved it. In at number 3, we're talking about First Contact, specifically the movie. While Picard is getting up information about the artifact and also the Borg, we see numerous pictures from previous Treks. The first image it displays is a shot from the Battle of Sector 001 from First Contact, which also features the USS Enterprise E. I feel like the Enterprise E could be an Easter egg in its own, however I am so excited to see it on screen. However, CBS, please, I would like to see it actually, VFX and moving around and firing phasers. A man can dream. In number 4, still talking about the pictures here, you may have noticed a picture of what looks like a Romulan Council. This is actually an image of a Romulan Continuing Committee. This is one of the highest governing bodies in the Romulan Star Empire, with the Praetor and the head of a Tal Shiar serving on it. Given that the Romulan Star Empire technically is no more after the supernova, I'm not sure if these people still exist, it's unlikely. In at number 5, we do get a picture of Hugh from iBorg. Now this file is probably stating that he is the director of the Borg Reclamation Project and also shows him in his more modern age, de-Borgified form. I would personally think this file is explaining who he is and how he came from being an ex-Borg to Federation citizen and now a director of a Borg Reclamation Project. Nice little bit of detail there, and it's almost like Picard watching a video to get up to date on what's about to happen. In at number 6, we get a beautiful shot of a Federation in Paris. Obviously the Federation building based in Paris on Earth, the office of a Federation president is also based in Paris. This has been seen numerous times in Trek, going back to as far as the Undiscovered Country, and most recently in Star Trek Discovery. Number 7, we're talking about XBs. We see some images of the operating procedure of turning the Borg into the XBs, which we saw in early episodes of Picard. I still feel like there's a lot of details surrounding the XBs, and also the Borg cube itself, but that remains to be seen in later episodes. Mark my words, I feel like something bad is going to happen on that cube. I can almost feel it. In at number 8, we're still talking about the Borg, and finally, in one of the best scenes of this episode, Picard comes face to face with Locutus of Borg, the time in which Picard was assimilated into the mouthpiece of a Borg invasion of humanity. The holographic screen overlays this image onto Picard's face from our perspective, as Picard is not able to flick through the image and actually moves his hand to where the implants were on his face, representing that he still remembers those dark days. There is a scene later in this episode where some XBs actually recognise Picard as Locutus, showing they'd neither have forgotten who he was. There's also a weird scene I feel the need to point out on the cube when Picard beams over and starts walking across a bridge, a weird type of Borg drone activates. I still think something's going to happen on that cube, but mark my words, I will not stop talking about this until something happens. Borg revolt, I'm telling you. Now you may be wondering about the Romulan Rubik's Cube. Let's talk about number 9. This is actually a Tan Zekran. Now it compares the way to open the cube with patience and knowing how it works. This is similar to how you'll get the information and secrets within Soji, using patience and knowing how it works. In at number 10, we get a bit more information about the Romulans and how they currently feel. As Raffi is trying to convince her Starfleet captain friend Emmy to grant Picard diplomatic credentials, Emmy says that the Romulans are in a 250-year bad mood. First contact between humans and Romulans happened in the Enterprise episode Minefield, which occurred in 2152, which is almost 247 years ago. The Earth-Romulan War happened only 4 years later, so they're probably still not big fans of humanity. In at number 11, we get a nice little Voyager reference with the Adventures of Flutter. As Soji is looking for her belongings, which she believes are old, she opens up a box with a cover art that says The Adventures of Flutter. This is a reference to The Adventures of Flutter, a series of children's holoprograms set in a forest of forever, with the main character being Flutter T. Water, a fictional water elemental. These crazy holoprograms were seen in the Star Trek Voyager episode Once Upon a Time. Still talking about Soji and her continuation to find who she is, we get the details of 37 months. Soji quantum dates everything she owns within a room and finds out that everything is about 37 months old, which she would probably find is the same date she is. In an earlier episode, Dr. Jurati had said that all records of Daj were created only 3 years ago, so it would make sense that Soji was created about the same time that her belongings are. I mean, they are twin sisters after all. Number 13, we're back to talking about the Borg again as the XBs. With Picard beaming onto the Borg cube, he starts having flashbacks as he walks onto a catwalk which has no handrail. One of the flashbacks is actually a scene where Starfleet officers are being assimilated from First Contact, as well as a scene where the Borg are activating the interplexing beacon to contact the Borg in 2063. There are many other scenes from First Contact as well. Some Borg are regenerating active, sensing Locutus, but the XBs that grab Picard simply do it to stop him from falling off the catwalk, which is nice of them. In at number 14, we get this really nice little detail with Hugh. Hugh refers to the liberated Borg as XBs, and tells Picard that a name can be the first step towards a new identity. I learned that on the Enterprise. This is obviously a very big reference to the episode I, Borg, where we first met Hugh, and he was actually given the name of Hugh. If you're new to the Star Trek universe with Picard, then I highly recommend watching this episode of The Next Generation, as it's one of my personal favourites, and really sets up the character of Hugh. So if you like him in the series of Picard, definitely go back and watch that episode. While Narek is talking to Soji about who she is, and why her items are only 37 months old, Narek says that implanting false memories is not unheard of. This was not only seen recently in Star Trek Discovery with Ash and Voq, but also seen and used by Romulans when they captured Geordi in The Mind's Eye, another great Next Generation episode. In at number 16, we're talking about the Borg Queen. "Only now our Queen is Romulan," is a quote used by Hugh. Now that the XBs have been freed from the Borg Collective, they are no longer under the control of the Borg Queen, but they are not Federation citizens, so they're essentially outcasts. They are now under the control of the Romulans. With Hugh saying this, it could also mean that the current ruler of the Romulan Free State is a queen. Could it perhaps be Sela, or someone else we might know? Either way, I have a feeling we're setting this up for a big reveal at the end of Season 1. But that might just be me. Let me know what you think of it down below in the comments. In at number 17, we get a great little reference to Latinum. While Raffi and Rios are talking about Soji, they actually made bets of 2 strips of gold-pressed Latinum on whether she would actually be alive by the time they reach the Borg cube. Latinum is the currency used by the Ferengi and many other world and species. Watch DS9 and the character of Quark, you'll always hear a reference to Latinum. In at number 18, we learn that Romulans have a name for outsiders and a name for family. Narek reveals that his name is actually Hyran to Soji. Mild pronunciation on that. The idea of 2 names from Romulans can actually be seen in the original series episode, The Enterprise Incident, where the Romulan sub-commander whispers her name to Mr. Spock. In at number 19, time travel. Alright, not quite so much, but when Hugh and Picard enter Soji's room, a PA announcement can be heard that chronometric activity has been detected in a sector of the Borg cube. Could this be a little seed that has been planted to allow the gang to return to the cube later in this season, or even next season? Chronometric energy and activity can typically be used to create a temporal vortex, which is what the Borg did in First Contact to travel back to Earth in 2063, with the goal of stopping the first contact between humans and Vulcans. I don't know what's going on here, but time travel potentially. I'm not sure. Within Narek's cube at number 20 is a portable radiation generator. When he's trapped Soji in the final room, it actually activates a portable radiation generator. There's a great little reveal there and I love it. Now what type of radiation that is coming out of this is currently unknown, but it's very similar style to that of a Phaleon generator used in Star Trek Nemesis. Seems that these types of weapons are favoured among Romulans. Typical. Finally, our last reference and Easter egg of the day comes in for a pretty big one that we saw at the end of episode 6, Sicarians. While Hugh takes Picard and Soji to the Queen Cell in order to escape, it's revealed that the Queen Cell is a compartment within all Borg cubes which we believe allows the Queen to move about the Borg cubes or escape in an act of emergency. The particular technology they use here is called a spatial trajector. This piece of technology was actually seen in an early episode of Star Trek Voyager, Prime Factors, where a species called the Sicarians could transport people over 40,000 light years. Could this mean that the whole Sicarian race was assimilated in the Delta Quadrant after Voyager was there? Who knows, but this also means that the Borg expanded throughout the Delta Quadrant even more so when Voyager originally mapped their space. Okay, so those were all our Easter eggs and references we found in the Impossible Box, and the episode was rammed full of references to previous Borg episodes and even a deep dive into the Romulans and of course Star Trek Voyager. If we missed anything or you picked up anything up, let us know via the comment section below. I'm always interested in hear what you spotted out, as there's certainly quite a few things in here. Particularly one of my things I was going to mention but didn't get the time to was Narek's name. A lot of people are saying his name actually references the phrase, "it's nothing," or "I am nothing," so There's something up for debate there. Either way, lots more Easter eggs. Let us know what you find in the comments below. Okay, that's it from us here on Trek Central for today. Thank you for watching the video, and I do hope you enjoyed it. If you want to keep up to date with all things Star Trek news, lore, and more, then make sure to subscribe to Trek Central here on YouTube. You can also follow us on social media for daily updates, visit our website, or even join our brand new community Discord server. For now, I've been Captain Jack, thanks for watching, and I will of course see you next time. Goodbye.